And again, this recording will be available on the CCSF Collective YouTube channel. And then we are trying to, we will provide transcripts or subtitles on the YouTube video later on. But then for now, we're going to move into the beginning of the session. So if you go to the next slide, Gracie. We just want to also acknowledge that San Francisco is located on the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, who are the original inhabitants of San Francisco. We encourage non-Indigenous members to uplift the work of repatriation and land taxes. And if people also want to include what native land they're also on right now, please feel free to add it into the chat. And then next slide, Gracie. Something that's really important for us to consider as we begin this as we progress throughout this whole semester and this community education project is that we want to be intentional with how we are creating Black, Indigenous, and POC-centered spaces. We want to move forward by creating practices to prioritize BIPOC members and proactively decenter whiteness and dismantle white supremacy, anti-Blackness, misogynoir, and colorism. Because of that, we're going to open the discussion only to BIPOC for tonight, centering LGBTQ+ and disabled BIPOC, with the last 10 minutes being open to all, if there is time. In future sessions, the discussion portion will be open only to BIPOC and communities who are primarily impacted by the session topic. The chat is open to all, however, we ask white folks to please be mindful over taking up too much space. The Zoom sessions will continue to be open for all to join. We will follow up with more updates on any additional changes soon, and we'll reach out to the BIPOC folks in the space, so the people that sign up for our course, in regards to optionally meeting and sharing input when we are ready. The BIPOC folks who have urgent questions about this format can direct the questions to me, and the white folks could also direct questions to Gracie, our white coordinator, with the knowledge that they're a point person, not expert. And you could message us through the CCSF Collective email, which I'll put in the chat right now. And BIPOC folks who are interested in participating in our class are still able to join. We're not accepting any new white members. In the meantime, a feedback form with an anonymous option will also be shared in an email to all of our membership. And then with that, we're going to introduce our person who's helping us with doing care, and that is Kari.
Hey y'all, thank you, Ara. My name is Kari, she, her pronouns are fine. I am grateful to be here with y'all and just want to re-uplift the offering that I had shared on Monday, which is that I think during this session and probably during a lot of sessions in this class, we'll be going through topics that can be sensitive to folks and that can cause some potential triggers or re-traumatization, or just questions that are difficult to hold. And if you need a space to process with someone else during the session, you can always DM me. We can pull out and be in a breakout room, or we can just chat. Or if you need additional resources, I'm happy to try to direct you. I am not an expert, I am a student as well, but happy to be here and hold whatever space I can. Thanks. Oh, also, we designed a little feedback survey that we'll be distributing after each class to just see what's working well for folks, what could potentially be shifted or iterated upon, and yeah, what's resonating with y'all so that we can make this class meet folks' needs. So yeah, I'll send that out at the end of class, but hope that everyone's doing all right today.
Thank you so much, Kari, for giving that introduction. So it's very essential for us that we want to begin this class through doing a lens of transformative justice, keeping in mind that not all abolition is practiced through the lens of transformative justice. So with that, we're introducing the communications director, Eli, who will be talking about TJ. Thank you.
Hey. Oh. Hey, how y'all doing? I'm Eli. My pronouns are today, they are she, her, he, they, asking people to mix them up using the she respectively. All right, here, I want to get straight into it because I talk too much. So give me 1 second to get my screen up. Boom. Let me make sure I'm sharing my sound. Okay. So this is going to be Abolition Beyond the Binary, Dismantle the Whole System presentation. We're going to start off with the introduction around like cultural work in transformative justice. First, I'm going to show this film. Please let me know if y'all can hear it. I also need to make sure I will take full responsibility. I don't think I made sure the closed captions were on it before I uploaded it. So let me see if that comes through for y'all. So give me 1 second, let me start it.
A bad bitch once told me.
Give me 1 second, because I want to make sure that this is accessible. So I appreciate y'all's patience. I'm going to pull the film up on the website because I believe the We Are One have it available.
Honestly, with just starting, I was impressed.
Oh yeah. Also, I'm just gonna put it out there. That's wifey right there in the
A bad
beginning.
bitch once
That's my
told
short.
me.
You understand? Okay, we're about to give it up. All right, so give me 1 second because I really am all about accessibility, and I want to make sure that people can not just enjoy, can enjoy this in full. So let's try this.
A bad bitch once told me it takes 2 people to clock you. You and them. And if you don't clock yourself,
Gerard?
then that bitch delusional.
Gerard, come on, man. I know you hear me. It's me, Reg. What's up?
Who?
Dang, so you got your wig now. You don't know nobody, huh?
Speaking of wigs, I got the perfect one for that hairline, sir.
Dang, it's like that?
Yeah.
Dang, Gerard. You aren't looking like a real woman, though.
Real what? What type of side boy bitches you be hanging out with?
And how you get those titties?
Oh my God.
And what about...
Excuse me. Where are the tampons?
Wait, what?
Thank you. Oh, and it's Chanel, nigga.
Femme queen.
Who?
Femme queen. Femme queen.
Yeah, about 500. It's gonna take care of everything. 1 second. Hello?
Siobhan?
Girl, I just nudged you. Did not just call me by my government name.
Oh, sorry, Mom.
The girls told me you was up for a promotion.
Yeah, I was.
Don't tell me they gave it to that little white girl.
Yeah, the one about that nasty-ass casserole to the holiday party.
Yeah, didn't you tell me she was fucking the manager?
Yeah, I guess she wasn't lying when she said she was good at sharpening pencils.
Okay, very Monica Lewinsky.
I worked my ass off for this presentation.
I know, baby, but don't worry. Mama got you. I secured the bag tonight. So drinks are on me.
Thank God, because you know Chanel ain't paying for shit, especially on her birthday. Speak of the devil, she'll come calling.
Faster than the trade on Backpage. I have this nice gentleman in front of me waiting to see me, so I'm gonna have to call you back later.
Okay, love you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now back to you.
Hey, girl.
Girl, put my moms down.
Sis, what you mean?
Put them down.
Too late. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm soft.
Soft as a brick. And you owe me T-blockers anyway.
Gag. So tell me why I ran into Reggie at the liquor store this morning.
Dusty Reggie with the Millennium Force hairline?
Yes, girl. Trey be trying me.
Wait a minute. Aren't you supposed to be at work?
You know. I took a little self-care day. I still pumped into the office to give the girls a look.
Chanel, they only gonna send your ass home so many times.
Yeah, well.
Chanel. Sis, Chanel. It's Chanel, like the perfume, like Coco.
There are no refunds.
I am so sorry. Give me 1 second.
How much I owe you?
110.
Girl, this should be free, honestly.
You're $12 short. We take cards too. Just a second. Darius!
It's not what it looks
What
like.
the fuck? Again?
I'm sorry, they're just really heavy. I'm trying.
Amira, you know this shit ain't my type of scene.
Baby, can you come in for like 5 minutes, please? It's Chanel's birthday and she'd be really excited to see you.
Ain't this supposed to be some kind of girls' night?
Air quotes. So we're using air quotes now? I don't remember using air quotes when you want to hang out with your bros, Chan and Tanner.
Amira, you know what I mean. You're not like those other...
Nigga, if you finish that statement, me and you gonna have a problem.
Who the fuck do you
What?
think...
Girl! You know what? Me and you will finish this conversation later. Erica, girl. Who you running from, girl? Who I gotta make?
Girl, I didn't know the West Grand Boulevard bus stopped at Church Hill. Bitch, I had to walk a mile.
Are you serious?
Go out.
Thanks, babe. Girls, what are y'all standing here for? Let's get the club ready.
Okay, come through, sis. T.S. Sesame Street.
Bend over and let me see you take a hell of it.
Come on, sis. Here, happy birthday. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. I figured you like it considering you broke your last one.
I have a gift too.
What? Ma! What the hell am I supposed to do with this? It's white.
Girl, 4 words. Cam, girl, rinse, juice.
Here, somebody take this, girl. So what's tea with the cocktails? Because I ain't paying for shit.
You know mother got you for your big dad, but go get your sister first.
Where's she at?
She been in the bathroom for like 20 minutes.
Yes, food.
Hi.
Girl, I cannot believe you bought her this.
Girl, like mother, like daughter, she like big dicks.
Ooh, bitch, it smell good in here. Girl, I thought they drug tested you at the office.
Girl, fuck that job.
Ooh, it's like that?
Girl, this 9 to 5 shit is so late.
Oh, come on.
And I really wanted that promotion. With this fucking eviction notice. Girl.
Eviction notice?
Yes. You don't read your mail?
Girl, no. That's why I got you.
We need $2K by the end of the month or we are homeless.
$2K? There goes my bag.
Well, look, at least he both still got jobs.
So, bitch, about that.
Chanel.
Let's just say the girls chopped me for my effect.
Bitch, you got fired?
Girl, it's okay. It's okay. It's still cutting for the dog. I just want to be on my freelance shit anyway.
Girl, fuck that freelance shit. Fuck that art. We about to be homeless.
Girl! The blunt?
Y'all have fun. Y'all enjoying yourselves?
She didn't even wish me happy birthday.
There she is.
Yeah, there she is right there. My daughter, you know what I'm telling y'all about. There she is right there, my daughter. Take her up here. Take her up here.
Happy birthday to my best friend and my sis, Chanel. But before we start, please do not sing the Stevie Wonder version. The girls don't have time to get sued again. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Chanel. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, boy. I done known y'all bitches for 10 years and y'all still don't know how to spell a bitch name right?
Make a wish, but before you blow out the candles, you get 2 wishes because you're transgender.
Femme queen.
Okay. Let me turn that off in my ear. All right. Thank y'all so much for watching that with me again. Deeply apologize. Take full responsibility. Don't thank me for doing what needs to be done by making sure y'all get the version of that with the closed captions. Go straight into this because, again, I'm long-winded. So the creator, the director, and the star of this film is not only my wifey, but she's one of the founding mothers of the Trans Sister of Color Project. Bree Rivera, formerly Bree Campbell, that was in the film, is the other founding mother of Trans Sister of Color Project. That organization was birthed from the community need to build protection from the police in Detroit after the murder of a young lady. I started to take that out, as you can see, I didn't go. After the murder of a young lady there. The whole point is, right, a lot of times when we talk about prison abolition, when we talk about transformative justice, to me, it's often from a nonprofit industrial complex lens, also from like this super academic lens, and there don't be enough cultural work in it for me, right? That film is a Black feminist abolitionist film. Now, my baby will do a way better job of talking about her film. There's actually a Q&A she's gonna be doing. I'm gonna see if I can get the link so I can email that over to CCSF so they can share, because I want her, she does, like I said, a better job talking about it. But the whole thing with this film, right, when I've heard the many times she talked about it, it's a reprieve from the violence that we often hear about Black trans women. There's literally no film. That's the pilot. She's been trying to get this picked up. So if your daddy or your mama or your they/them parent is in the industry, please holler at me. You know, or cousin or uncle, whoever. You know, they've been trying to get it picked up, and literally some of the questions they got is, well, why do the characters have to be Black trans women? You know, pretty much white people questioning what the importance of that is. And to me, that is the work, right? Seeing a story that was funny, it was colorful, it was lively, it wasn't rooted in trauma, it wasn't rooted in struggle. The name of that is The Clock. So it literally was about transphobia that they experienced, but it was told through the lens of comedy. and through their lens, right? And that's important because in the work that we're doing, it's about transforming. It's about using our imaginations to see the world in a different way. And one way to help us see the world in a different way is to tell the stories of how we experience the world a lot different than the coming of age stories that we usually get. All right, so I'll go into TGIJP. I hope y'all like that. I like to do that because it like lightens it up. People laugh, people key, the girls, if there's any Black trans women here, hopefully they felt seen. You know, like I love to do that for the people. So I'm the communications. I'm the communications director here with TGIJP. And who we are, TGIJP is a group of trans, gender variant, intersex people inside and outside of prisons, jails, detention centers. And we say we're creating a united family in the struggle for survival and freedom. Our mission is that we work in collaboration with others to forge a culture of resistance and resilience to strengthen us for the fight against human rights abuses, imprisonment, police violence, racism, poverty, and societal pressures and oppression. We seek to create a world that's rooted in self-determination, freedom of expression, and gender justice. The mission of TGIJP is to challenge and end the human rights abuses committed against Black and brown trans people inside California prisons, jails, detention centers, and beyond. So this presentation is focused on discussing an overview of transformative justice, and I'll cite my sources there, and discussing community accountability processes that TGI members have agreed upon once upon a time in here, and also be transparent about how we're transitioning right now, and we strive to apply these internally and externally. So I'll open up with this quote here: transformative justice uses the power unleashed by the harm of crime to let those most affected find truly creative healing solutions. In short, that film, right? That's a creative way to bring awareness or to tell a story, right? And it's not told the way we're used to being told. One thing I like to start off with is there's no accountability for the US imperialist empire. We ain't taking the police and holding them accountable. We're not taking the president or the vice. This is not, when I talk about transformative justice, I'm talking about the institutions that we're creating outside. I'm talking about safe outside the system, right? So these definitions here come directly from Mia Mingus, I believe it is, straight from that website. I'll share the resources here. These are not my words, these are her words. Transformative justice is a political framework and approach to responding to violence, harm, and abuse. At its most basic, it seeks to respond to violence without creating more violence and or engaging in harm reduction to lessen the violence. TJ can be thought of as a way of making things right, getting in right relation, or creating justice together. TJ responses and interventions include not relying on the state, so police, prisons, criminal legal systems, ICE, foster care. Now, they do put, some TJ responses do rely on or incorporate social services like counseling. 2, do not reinforce or perpetuate violence such as oppressive norms or vigilantism. And more importantly, 3, actively cultivates the things we know prevent violence such as healing, accountability, resilience, and safety for all that are involved. The state responds to violence, reproduce violence, and often traumatize those who are exposed to them, especially oppressed communities, marginalized communities who are already targeted by the state. It's important for us to remember that while many people choose not to call the police, many communities can't call the police because of reasons such as fear of deportation, harassment, state-sanctioned violence, sexual violence, previous convictions, or inaccessibility. So TJ is an abolitionist framework that understands systems such as prisons, police, ICE, as sites where enormous amounts of violence take place, and as systems that they were created to be inherently violent in order to maintain social control. TJ works to build alternatives to our current system, which often position themselves as protectors while simultaneously enacting the very forms of violence they claim to condemn. One thing I often ask people when I be like, fuck the police, or I say something like that, and I just be like, I'm not here for the police. And I be like, who gets pulled over and goes, yay, they're behind me, about to get into Nobody celebrates when the police come behind them. I don't care who you are, not the police, not the military people, never. Everybody sees them red and blue lights and goes, oh, fuck, they about to mess up your day. They about to interrupt something. That is where I start with people. So if you are looking for, like, if you have people in your life who they applaud the police and they be sucking the police dick, then you just let them know, hey, look, when you get pulled over by the police, do you get excited? That's like a starting point. Because if they say yes, they're lying. Who created TJ? So TJ was created, again, this is Mia Mingus' words, by and for many of these communities, indigenous communities, Black communities, immigrant communities of color, poor and low income communities, communities of color again, people with disabilities, sex workers, queer and trans, gender nonconforming communities. And it is important to remember that many of these people and communities have been practicing TJ in big and small ways for generations, trying to create safety and reduce harm within dangerous conditions that they were and are forced to live in. For example, the undocumented immigrant women in domestic violence relationships, disabled people who are being abused by their caretakers and attendants, sex workers who experience sexual assault or abuse, or poor children and youth of color who are surviving child sexual abuse, have long been devising ways to reduce harm, stay alive, and create safety and healing outside state systems, whether or not these practices have been explicitly named as transformative justice. Again, to go back to how I bring people to the forefront, like just very 101, fuck the police is an abolitionist statement. Now, it may not have a lot of ideology behind it, and a lot of people, the practice, but literally, you say fuck the police, everybody say that, fuck 12, you know what I'm saying? We know what's happening. Now, one more quote I have for you. The prison system is both a cause and a result of violence and social injustice. Throughout history, the majority of prisoners have been powerless and the oppressed. We are increasingly clear that the imprisonment of human beings, like their enslavement, is inherently immoral and is as destructive to the cagers as to the caged. So let's get into a little bit of TGIJP and accountability and the way that we've tried to do our own transformative justice. This here is outdated. So in April 2019, these guidelines were presented and agreed upon during a TGIJP healing retreat. The group agreed to test out these guidelines for the next 3 months and revisit and make edits to the guidelines in August. I was not here, so I can't name to whether that happened. That's why I'm being extremely transparent in the transition that TGIJP is going through. I'm going to read this because I'm not sure if y'all can read it. So TGIJP taking accountability of guidelines, listen and apologize, listen to and understand your impact on the other person or group. Reflect back what you understand and name your impact. Don't explain why you did what you did unless the other person says it's okay to share. Transform your behavior. What can you do to make sure it doesn't happen again? How could you have responded differently, made a different choice? What support do you need to transform or be accountable? Who can support you in your transformation? Making amends, repair and build trust with the other person. Be consistent with your word and ask for support if needed. TGIJP de-escalation practices. People will be physically separated if yelling or within arm's reach of each other and not sober, one or both people. Conversations to resolve the issue will happen when both people are sober and there have been at least 4 hours of separation between those involved. See below for what you can do during the cool down period. Cool down. What do you need to feel calm and clear? What do you need to feel safe? Stop. Excuse yourself and take space. This is the one I struggle with. I'll be escalating stuff. I'm just being honest with y'all. Get as far away as possible. Where's a place that feels safe for you? Go outside, take a walk, work out, go to sleep, take a nap, take a smoke break, get quiet, vent to someone, a friend not involved in the conflict, someone that understands you and will affirm you, someone that can help think through things and keep you grounded. Stop, look, and listen to your body language. Are your arms crossed? Are you clapping? Is your jaw tight? Get a drink, water, tea, juice. Break some ice. Listen to music that'll help shift your mood. Write, journal, draw, sing, get a snack or a meal, play video games, get on social media and look at cute animals or babies. So again, at this time, TGIJP is in its transitional phase. This was agreed on by people that are no longer within the organization. I really like that. I actually came across that while I was in the office, and it was just kind of sitting there, and I picked it up and I was like, hey, this is cool. And then I learned that it was something that was put in place during the healing retreat. And since then, the people that were involved in that are no longer here. But it's something that I'm prioritizing bringing back to the table when we have our next retreat. Just to give a little bit more about what TJ looks like on a larger scale, because that's really zoomed in. So we have something called Black Girls Rules, which is a yearly convening it usually takes place in January, but things have shifted a bit because of COVID. And it's a space to focus on developing liberation ideology and eventually transforming into a national development strategy. So for example, in January 2020, before the pandemic, it was 60 or 65 Black trans people from all over the United States came together. And we were in Vegas and we had a conference. And it's not lost on me that by June 2020, when we were dealing with the pandemic, we had Sisters PGH who raised all that money to build tiny homes for Black trans women. We had Auntie Dora Show in Queens, and they opened up, I think it's in Woodlawn, they opened up the building to house, I believe it's primarily trans women, sex workers, but I believe other people as well. It's not lost on me that Black Trans Travel Fund has implemented international support. They go beyond doing just car rides. They also do a flight program. They also have a passport program. It's not lost on me that a lot of people that were engaged in that went back to their respective areas, and we had no idea this gloom and doom was upon us. And I feel like, or I know rather, being at BGR helped equip people for what was to come. We have had male correspondent night every week. It's been postponed due to COVID. As the comms director, I've really been strategizing how to bring that back in a safe way, because it was something where we would all be in this small room together opening mail, and that's not safe right now. So trying to figure out how to bring that back. That mail night is a time where we are answering the mail from our people on the inside and we're responding in kind. Right now, we have our legal team that's doing that. So we have a couple people that answer hundreds of mail now, as opposed to how we used to have the community doing it. We really want to get back to the community doing it. It was open to all communities, and there we would feed people. And it was an opportunity to correspond with the people in jails and prisons. Another thing that we were having before the pandemic was quarterly retreats with Transformative Justice workshops. Again, we're looking to figure out how to re-implement this in the safest way possible during the pandemic. Before the pandemic, we were having hella community gatherings, and the intention is healing, support, safety, Blackness, survival, freedom, because those spaces are so scarce, which makes them all the more to be sacred. That's a part of the work, creating communities that people have a space to heal in, communities that people are coming to a consensus about what it looks like to be safe outside the system. We sat down and decided that we needed a holistic approach to healing while maintaining abolitionist and ideology, a community gathering that addresses the health and wellness of our entire community while we heal and deconstruct and fight for freedom. A gathering not directly on the front lines this time, so our recharge time is happening as community care without the same sacrifices as self-care. With community care, our labor is, we brought back Sunday night dinners. That was about a couple of years ago. And it was centering our ideas around food as healing, again, gathering and breaking bread with each other. The current political and social environment is harsh and traumatic, and we wonder how we could deconstruct trauma and slow down through community and radical food healing. So that is pretty much how TGIJP, like, that's how we approach like transforming harm. That's, you know, the practices that we have and we put forth. And again, I think the most vulnerable thing I can do with you all is be extremely transparent on the transitional process that we're in right now, where I can name that we're still within the nonprofit industrial complex. And oftentimes what happens within the nonprofit industrial complex is it becomes a little bit too easy to lean on tokenization and weaponization of identities, and you kind of stray from the light. And right now we're in a place where we're trying to get back grounded to what this organization is intended to be and how we intend to practice things. Working on getting some principles of unity and some values very clear through the consensus of community, utilizing our people that are on the inside to lead this in this conversation. So I hope that was clear. I hope that gave y'all a good idea of what TJ is, and if anything, an introduction to how TGIJP practices TJ through community building, really. And yeah, it's an honor to be able to sit here and talk with y'all. So I'm gonna shut up now and let us keep the show rolling.
Wow, thank you so much, Eli. And I just recognize that you're right on point when it comes to finishing at 6:40. I appreciate giving the overview of transformative justice and community accountability process. I do wonder if it's okay for us to open the facilitated discussion now, and we go until 7, and then we do a 10-minute break afterwards. Eli, is that okay with you? We just jump into discussion? Okay, great. I hope folks feel okay with that. Just as a reminder, I want to reemphasize that the facilitated discussion space, we do want to center BIPOC, primarily LGBTQ+ and disabled BIPOC. So for the first 20 minutes, from 6:40 until 7, when we go to our break, we want only BIPOC members to ask their questions that they need. And then afterwards, when we return from our break, it'll be open to all. So we will do this by a raised hand function. So please raise your hand if you're interested in asking a question, and then I'll do stack from then. So if anybody has questions, please do raise hands. Or if anybody wants to give a comment, that's totally fine as well. Okay, I see Sean. Go ahead, Sean.
I just wanted to comment and say thank you for sharing that video, because I did resonate, right? Like, it was cool to sit there and see trans people that were like Black trans people that were happy, and like it was humorous, it was funny, and it was cool to see the joy and cool to see the love. You know what I mean? Like, because it is true. I do get quite tired of seeing Black people in general in these very traumatic movies. It's very exhausting to continue watching that. So I thank you for showing that. And then I also thank you for the overview on what like TJ is to the organization, because that was awesome, right? Like, I definitely learned a lot from that.
Do y'all want me to respond? Or do you just want to keep taking the questions? No, I just want to say thank you, Sean. Like, it's one, you already know you got my bestie's name. But I like, you know, it's important for me, like when I come into these, one, my partner is whatever, I'm gonna bring her into the room and all her works, but also it's important to like, what I didn't say, what I didn't talk about, right, is TSOP went from how they started and they actually work with the police now, which is why my partner is not on the board anymore. And one thing that the founding mothers are very accountable to is the lack of political education that was involved in the building of the organization. Because there was not enough political education, oftentimes we assimilate instead of work towards liberating. And I'll hold it there because I'm sure other things I have to say I'll answer with other questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I see that Kari's next. Or I'm sorry, Kari, do you still have a question?
I would love to just say thank you so much also, Eli. And I was also just really loved that way of creating a discussion around CJ, because I feel like I've mostly heard about it spoken through like an academic lens or intellectualized, you know, and I feel like watching seeing an organization be accountable and like speak on their process and like where they're kind of not doing the best work or like where they haven't been perfect is hella beautiful. And I feel like it's also just, I don't know, it's helpful for me sometimes to see that it's not like rocket science. Like I feel like it's real. I love to like hear somebody ground us in the fact that TJ is like literally like, what does your specific hyper local community need? Like what's going on? And then like, what are we gonna do to support each other? And I feel like that's something that I don't see enough of like, oh, this is literally just like something that's happening and we're like figuring it out on the way. And I think I wanted to just ask, I guess, in terms of like, oh my God, please come through. Oh my God. This is hella beautiful.
She just literally walked through the door and gave me a flower. So I'm sorry to interrupt what you were asking. That's the star, that's the creator. They just watch your film. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Nice surprise, right? Look, gagging.
I feel like we're with a movie star. What the hell?
Oh, you are. Oh, and the harpist. Don't forget she plays the harp. Oh, if y'all didn't know, she plays the harp. She's a harpist, singer, multidisciplinary artist. My bad. Keep going. They're gagging, baby. Yes, they're gagging.
I'm dead. I guess just my little logistical question for in an organizational context is just like, I feel like I can't even speak on anything besides how beautiful
it's okay.
that was.
I know. Just hold it, and then when it comes back, type it, because I do hear what you're saying, and I appreciate, the thing is, it's hard for me to come through with the vulnerability, right? But as a director of communications, like I'll tell y'all right now, it's not a lot of director of communications that talk like me, look like me, and it's gonna give it up like me. I'm a curse. I'm gonna do everything I gotta do till somebody say, calm it down. I'm gonna do what I gotta do because I'm speaking my language. This is how I'm gonna get it across. I see there was other questions. Y'all want me to just go? Because can I answer the question from Troy?
Joy wants to ask it herself. So Joy, if you want to answer?
Okay,
that's fine.
Thanks. Hi, Eli. We met once, and I'll come back to volunteer. I'm just super busy right now, but my question is, how would you describe some of the hardest parts of doing TJ work within TGIJP, like the specific context of working with Black and Brown trans folk?
Woo, that question is not your fault. It's loaded. It's not your fault. It's all right. We're going to get it though. So, one of the hardest part is we're dealing with people who are consistent, that are really dealing with lots of PTSD, right? That have been consistently harmed and who are guarded, right? Who are trying to protect themselves at all points. And one thing I'm learning, I'm in multiple forms of therapy myself, thank goodness. And one thing I'm learning is oftentimes our responses come from a place of trauma, right? So sometimes, I'll just use a personal example. She'll be saying something to me, and when I respond back to her, I'm talking to my mother, I'm talking to my absent father, I'm talking to my ex, I'm not even talking to her. And that is some of the hard part, because we're dealing with people, especially when we're dealing with stuff that's inside the prison, right? And we're trying to mitigate harm that's happening outside of even our reach point, right? Because we're out here, right? So when people are inside, and for just a vague example, we got a white trans woman that has a practice of harming Black trans women. How are we addressing that from out here? Because we know that they're already in the heart of the beast that is trying to address that in ways that we're not aligned with. Recommendations for moving forward, it really is honestly, get your people skills together. Get your relationship skills together. I take it to a very, like I said, we keeping it real simple around here. I'm going to get a book. I have a couple of books that I want to offer y'all. One of them is about intimacy and relationships. And I'll put that one down because all this work we're doing, we want better for the people. We want housing for people. Let's just say in a perfect world, we wake up tomorrow and it's like, you feel a brand new day. You know what I'm saying? The jails are closed, the prisons are closed, people are free. do we really know how to be in relationship with each other? Do we really know how to treat each other? Do we know how to talk with each other? Are we ready for that? And that is within my abolitionist framework, asking that question. How are we preparing ourselves for the moment the revolution does come? And again, let's take the next question. I hope that answered it for you. Oh, wait, text me where we met. Write me in the thing where we met, because I be everywhere and I smokes lots of weed. So.
Thank you so much, Eli. I know that Charlie has a question that he wants to ask.
Thank you. So I was wondering how you all as an organization kind of came to realize that you needed to reassess your principles and practices. And, you know, if you're comfortable sharing, you know, what has that process looked like, and or do you have any tips that you'd be able to share for groups that need to do similar work?
So this is the part where I share with y'all the many hats that I wear. So I am on the core team of Black Trans Media. If you haven't heard of them, they're based out of Brooklyn. I'm on the core team with Black Trans Travel Fund. I am on the committee with the Black Trans Fund. I am a observer, currently non-active, of Jamaica Lands, which is the Democratic Socialist Group. And it's based out of Jamaica, but they have like a Turtle Island unit, different units, different places. I also am an organizer, like member with, it's called the ACERE, the Red Barrier Afrodescendiente Network. That is actually based in Cuba, but again, I am part of the Turtle Island Network. So with that being said, I have I'm also a member of the a prospective member of the All African People Revolutionary Party and a member of Black Alliance for Peace. So with that said, as you see, I'm involved in lots and lots of work expanding beyond Turtle Island. And for me, I'm not trying to take I can only talk about my contribution to TGIJP. There have been other people as well that have come on that said it. But with me, with Black Trans Travel Fund, that was started by my brother, my good brother, Devin Lowe. He started all by himself. We were housemates at the time. I asked him if I could be a part of it with him. He brought me on. Once we started to build, we started to the demand is so big for everything you need. I was like, oh my God, bro, we got to sit down. We need values. We need to understand how our values do our mission. We need principles of unity, something that I saw in Black Alliance for Peace. So it was pulled from more radical, right, spaces that are working towards liberation. And in TGIJP, you know, what I began to witness, I started as social media manager, by the way, and because they're invested in Black trans leadership, I don't have no degree. I'm about 3 credits away from a little AA or AS, whatever that nonsense is, and I don't know if I ever go back. But without a degree, they made me the comms director. So I'm doing this off the strength of being a little Black girl and then being like, you talk too much in school. And now I'm a comms director, so it all made sense. So I say that to say, with my growth in the organization, I started to notice things. I started to notice that we're building and we're growing. And I study, right? I read Captive Genders years ago, and I often refer to Captive Genders today. I read Angela Davis's Freedom is a Constant Struggle, and I refer to it often today as I'm working here. I read Transgender History, and again, refer to it today. So what got me to the point to raise my hand and say, hey, y'all, we need to look at our mission for one. Are we still doing what we say we do? All right, boom. What are the values that we're rooted in doing this? And what are our principles of unity? Because in full transparency, you go to our website, it's not there. It exists in practice, but it not being made clear makes it very hard for us to work in a collective sense, right? So that's where it came from. It came from like the direct need. It came from there being people involved in the organization who had concerns. And as the comms director, like I take it very seriously. I communicate with the members. You know, I have meetings with the reentry team so I can stay connected with people on inside. And I'm hearing concerns come up. And to a fault, I'm a solution-oriented person. So I'm trying to find solutions, but how are we finding solutions if we're not aligned on our values? You know, are we anti-capitalist? Are we trying to aspire to be rad libs? Are we petite bourgeoisie? Like where are we? You know, and that's kind of how that came.
Thank you so much, Eli. Charlie, I'm just wondering if you have any responses to that? Okay, I saw that heart emoji, and that's a valid response. I just want to open the space again for any questions. We're going to keep it for BIPOC only for now, as we're exploring this idea of a progressive stack. So anybody that wants to share a question or comment, please do.
We're about to take break in 5 minutes, right?
We'll be taking, yes, a break at 7 p.m.
Okay, cool. You mind if for the next 4 minutes, I just share some information with everybody?
Yeah, it's completely fine.
Okay. I didn't see any more questions. So, you know, I just wanted to share more info with you all. Okay, I want to kind of go back to relationship building. I don't want to get up, so I don't want to grab my book. I don't think I have it right behind me. I think I have them right behind me. But what I will say is a recommendation is if you're Black, tap into Black Alliance for Peace. If you're Black, tap into the All African People's Revolutionary Party, especially if you are TLGBTQ, TGI, TGNC. And I'm gonna say that again, especially if you are Femme. Because right now it's an unprecedented time. It has been the Black trans renaissance. And this is the time for us to close rank and for us to get serious on our organizing. The problem is not that we don't work enough, is we're out organized, right? So get tapped into these larger organizations. Find yourself a political home. Everybody, that's for everybody, no matter what your identity, your race, whatever, everything, find yourself a political home. Don't let things scare you from finding that political home. You know, don't let things scare you from finding that political home, because the thing I often hear in organizing is, oh, none of us are perfect. And I'd be like, yo, who asked for perfection? Nobody asked for perfection. We always ask for us to do better. And there's always room for us to do better. And it's about that, you know, marginalized people, resilience. People often pride you on your resilience. Child, I don't want to hear that no more. The thing is that resilience is a tool. It's my tool. I sharpened that tool. You know, it's not something to be weaponized against me, that tool that I use. So I say that is take out your sword of resilience and be ready to wield it. Get involved with some organizations. Beyond getting involved with organizations, I'll go back to community building. Go outside, knock on your neighbor's door. It'd be that real simple thing. Like, connect with the people in your community. Go down to the gas station, and when you see the homeboys outside and they chilling, talk with them, get to know them, humanize the homeless. Humanize the street people, like build those relationships. I mean, that's just something I practice. You know, I'm a transplant here in Detroit. And, you know, when I go to the gas station or whatever, I make conversation with the people. I've gotten to know so much about Detroit from those people, not from the mayors and the who's. It's from the people on the street that are watching and see everything. And are also criminalized for being on the street. So I just want to share that. Like, if you, especially out there in California, the dystopia of Turtle Island, where in San Francisco, I really can't stand it. It's like, get out there. The energy just really messes me up. I literally am walking down the block and it's all these houseless people. And then I walk into a bar and I'm talking to some dude bro who's bragging to me about how he's a millionaire off of crypto. And I'm just like, so what are you doing with all that money? Why am I walking outside and all of our people are like struggling? And when I say our people, I mean the people, like humans. Why are we struggling if we have all these people who are accumulating wealth? What are you doing with the wealth? You're hoarding it anyway. I'm starting to ramble. I'll let them introduce the break.
Thank you so much, Eli. That was not rambling at all. We appreciate everything that you're sharing. We are going to go into our break. We'll resume at 7:10, and that's when we continue our facilitated discussion, and it'll be open to everyone. So we'll resume back at 7:10. I'll see you all then.
hacer cosas bien. Chupa rosa, déjame saber. Quieren guerras lo debido cuando matan nuestros hijos. Chupa rosa, déjame quererte.
This is La Doña, here with Justice for Sean, standing in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, to demand the immediate firing of all nasty little pigs involved in the murder of Sean Monterrosa and all other victims of police brutality. Vallejo PD, y'all fucked with the wrong ones. SFPD, best believe we coming for you next. We from Frisco and we don't stand down. Disarm, defund, disband, we won't stand for anything less. Now and always.
Chupa rosa que viene y se va, me visita ese niño. Chupa rosa que viene y se va. Ay, día a día. Chupa rosa que viene y se va, me visita ese niño. Chupa rosa que viene y se va. Olvidarte. Chupa rosa que viene y se va, me visita ese niño. Chupa rosa que viene y se va. Chupa rosa que viene y se va. Me visita ese niño. Chupa rosa que viene y se va. Chupa rosa que viene y se va.
My love, when I first met you, know I couldn't quite control my mind. I said, who was that fine thing standing right before my eyes? When you told me that you loved me, it really made my day. Now listen to me, baby, this is what I got to say. Know that I love you, know that I care. Believe me when I say that I'll always be there. No, 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 I can't believe that you're mine. But when I look deeper inside, I know that our love is alive. Yeah, yeah. Baby, believe me, yeah, we'll make it through that pouring rain. You know it's true, I go with you through hell and back again. We know that we gon' survive, we know that love is alive. In our hearts, in our minds, we know that we gon' climb high. To the moon, to the sky, like the stars in the night. We know we gon' shine bright like the sunlight. And when I look in your eyes, and when you look into mine, we know we gon' love each other till the end of time. Know that I love you, know that I care. Believe me when I say that I'll always be there. No, 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 I can't believe that you're mine. But when I look deeper inside, I know that our love is alive. Yeah. Make it slow down, make it slow down. All these thoughts in my head going round and round. I don't want us to move too fast. I wanna make this love last. Make it slow down, make it slow down. All these thoughts in my head going round and round. I don't want us to move too fast. I wanna make this love last. Yeah. You know that I love you, you know that I care. say that I'll always be there. No, 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 I believe that you're mine. But when I look deeper inside, I know that our love is alive. My love, you know that I love you. Know that I care. Believe me when I say I'll always be there. No, 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 I can't believe that you're mine. But when I look deeper inside, I know that our love is alive. They can tell you that they love you, but is it real? They don't deserve your love. You can do your best to show them just how you feel. But if you ain't careful, you gon' be dirty in love. How many times do I have to tell you? Be careful with your heart. 'Cause I don't wanna see you get hurt. I don't wanna see you let down. I don't wanna see you fall apart. No. Is it because you're loving that you gotta be so stubborn? Is it because you're lonely that you fell in love with the phony? You don't wanna be blood dry. You don't wanna lose your mind. Don't wanna be dirty inside. They can tell you that they love you, but is it real? They don't deserve your love. You can do your best to show them just how you feel. But if you ain't careful, you gon' be dirty in love. Get away from that poison. Get away from that confusion. Get away, fly away. Come on, fly away. You know that you can do better, but you got to believe you can. Don't let them play these games, no. Is it because you need love that you forget to put yourself above? Come on now, let it go. Come on, let it go. You don't wanna be blood dry. You don't wanna lose your mind. Don't wanna be dirty inside. They can tell you that they love you, but is it real? They don't deserve your love. You can do your best to show them just how you feel. But if you ain't careful, you gon' be dirty in love. Dirty in love. You gon' be dirty in love. If you ain't careful, you gon' be dirty in love. Dirty in love. Dirty in love. Oh. If you ain't careful, you gon' be dirty in love. Dirty in love. If you ain't careful, you gon' be dirty in
All right, everyone, we're going to resume the facilitated discussion. I do want to emphasize that although we're opening it to non-BIPOC, we still want to prioritize BIPOC voices. So if people have any questions, please feel free to either ask in the chat or use the raise hand function. Thank you. Okay, I actually have a question for you, Eli. I'm curious because in the academic setting, we have something regarding a grievance process. So I'm wondering how you envision a community accountability process happening in those institutions or at schools.
Sorry, say it one more time about a grievance process.
Yeah, so then at schools, we usually have a grievance process where there's a lot of paperwork. I know a lot of people have issues regarding that because nothing gets done actually. So I'm curious how you see a community accountability process happening at schools becoming the norm instead.
I appreciate that question. I'm going to try to answer it to my best of my ability. What I think, as soon as you said grievance, I used to be a part of a union, Local 1-2 in New York. That's the first thing I thought about. And that's for, I work for Con Edison, the light people, if you're not familiar. And, you know, you're right, grievance processes, they never did me any good. So I don't like those processes in my own experience. You know, it goes back to relationship building, to be honest. I like to think about what the precedent is set, like what's the foundation set when we come into these spaces? Now, this also just makes me think of Dr. Joy James. This is me just answering to the best of my ability. I think of Dr. Joy James, who introduced me to plural abolition, right? So as I'm calling myself a learning abolitionist, right? One example of plural abolition for me would be abolishing, right? Working within TGIJP, I'm focused on abolishing the state, right? Abolishing, you see that, abolish America, right? And abolishing the police in our heart, right? Abolishing the colonialists in our heart, right? In our mind, because none of us have been spared from this, you know, especially if you're in the heart of the empire. So when I think of the academic space, which I was only in virtually, so I could not go to school. I think of how y'all start your semester off, right? And how you even come into it. What's the starting point? You know, like what agreements do y'all come to? And now we're not talking about faculty, right? Because those are the powers that be in this. We're talking about amongst the people. So, right, in order to address a problem, you have to be in relationship with each other. Transformative justice is about how we're in relationship to each other. And a lot of times these TJ practices, all the different processes, it's about not only addressing the harm, but it's about repairing the relationship, whatever that relationship may be. So in my mind, I would think you start with how y'all start the semester, right? I think about, like I said before, getting down to the basics. You know, I haven't done college, whatever, so I know it's a little bit different, but I think of high school, right? When you're around people and you're just in class with people, outside of going to class with them, you don't really link up with them. You ain't really talking about nothing, you know, outside of partying, right? Which could be an avenue to build relationship, but what sober spaces, what spaces, intentional spaces are being built? And the other thing I would say about doing that is one of the roadblocks or barriers you'll find yourself is people not gonna show up, but that's about consistency. Creating a space outside the system, and in academia, the system would be the classroom, the system would be your faculty. How are y'all taking the power as the people to govern how y'all do that? I hope that answered it.
Yeah, it did. Thank you so much, Eli. That's something that I really want to contemplate over. Again, I want to open the question, are these space up for other people that want to ask anything? You could also message it in the chat or DM me too, if that is more comfortable. So I'm giving a little bit more time. Okay, and then I know that Laura has a question, so feel free, Laura, to ask.
Yeah, hi. I was wondering about how you felt about using the words the global majority or people of the global majority, either instead of or interchangeably with BIPOC. And I was just asking because I feel like using the right words has a lot to do with transformative justice. And obviously this is like your personal opinion.
No, I appreciate that because I do dibble dabble in semantics a bit, and I enjoy figuring out what to say and how we say it. And there's a joke amongst a group of Black trans women right now that they're like, it's how you say it, and it's really just an internal joke. Yeah, you know, I struggle. I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna start from the top. This ain't my tongue. This ain't my tongue. This ain't my tongue to sit here and this is the colonizer's tongue. I'm speaking a language of not my people. So I struggle a lot of times in even figuring out how we say things the quote unquote right way or getting caught up, you know, in that. Now I will say, like, I think this is a part of being just accountable, right? No matter how you say it, your intention behind it. Let's say, you know, I can't look at BIPOC without thinking bisexual people of color. And no matter what, no matter where it is, I'm like, oh, they talk about sexual fluidity. I know what the thing means, you know what I'm saying? But that's still where my brain goes just because I'm gay, you know, whatever. But so when it comes to the language, it's like whenever I see that, I'm not thinking about what it means, you know? So that's why the intention is very important. And I think the most important thing is just to say what you actually mean. Like if you're talking about Black people, say Black people. If you're talking about people of color, if you can be specific in who you're talking about, say that. If you're talking about Asian people, you know, figure out what the more appropriate terminology for the people that you are referring to and just say that. And I think that is what'll help us. I hope that answered it.
Thank you, Eli. So again, opening up this space for people to ask any questions. And if not, we might just end a little bit earlier. But if not, I'm just gonna give it a bit 2 more minutes. Let's see. Okay, and Erica just saying thank you so much for the space and for your words, Eli, to doing that. So again, please, people, if you have anything to say, please do.
I left my charger. I'm gonna stay as long as I can. Just want to say thank you so much. Thank you, Erica.
I had a quick.
Oh,
go ahead, Sean.
I was just gonna say, how do you like? This is a I don't know. I've just been trying to figure out how do we liberate like Black and like brown trans people. You know, as a non-binary person living in San Francisco that you so eloquently talk shit about. I'm from San Francisco, by the way. I felt all the shade. I was a little pressed, but they were true statements. But like, how do you what? How do you envision liberating Black and brown trans people? Or GNC?
One, yeah, all of us, TGNC,
Yeah.
TGI,
Yeah.
we're all
Yeah.
of us, the whole umbrella.
Yeah.
I guess one I like to say, I always start with every great thing you heard me say, I'm a reflection of my community. I did not sit in a room all by myself and come up with all these great things. All those great efforts that I named, all these great organizations, my relationship building skills, you know, that's how we get to know each other. Because all kinfolk and all skin folk and kinfolk, all trans folk and kinfolk, you understand? You know, there's so here's a perfect example, right? So I love doing healthier masculinity work. That was some of the work I started to do when I first came out of trans, because I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Like with me and like what I'm witnessing, and like in this one body and these one sets of eyes, my experience is dual. And I tried to do it one way and it worked. You know, I did make some community. And then I noticed that I also like am not able to reach the guys that I really need to reach, like the ones that are beating their girlfriends and like acting their damn fool just to be a man. So what I did was, of course, I took some time off, and I came back and I was like, hey, in an African American trans man group, I was like, who want to go to Vegas? Of course, I got their attention. So now I have over 40 Black trans men email because they want to go to Vegas. You understand? Little do they know I'm about to politicize them. So it's through relationship building. You understand what I'm saying? It's through meeting, literally when we say meet people where they are, it's literally about meeting people where they are. And sometimes you have to honor that you're not in the space to do that. And also holding, as a Black TGNC person, know that you're not alone, baby. Know that you are not going to do it by yourself. You know, it's about exiting the drama triangle and trying to be the rescuer and the savior of us, and knowing that you are also one in needing of saving. And also knowing that we're supporting each other, we're lifting each other up, and we're holding each other, we're embracing each other. So yeah, all of that. And I see another, creativity. I'm a dreamer, very creative. Like I'm resistant, resilient, and stubborn, and sometimes to a fault. Hey, kitty, oh, just hopped up on the counter. To a fault. So yeah, wait, I saw somebody had a question. You talked about finding a political home. Are there any that are not for bisexual POC person that you interacted and recommend? So, you know, don't know, because I can't front. I don't fraternize with them that much. Majority of my work is with Black people. So like, it's like straight up and down. Like I honestly don't know. And that just makes me think about hood communism and how engaging with works like Black Agenda Report, engaging with hood communism, paying attention to what they're doing and creating spaces, start an organization. Like, you know, I like to think of the white people that I think of now. Like I have a homegirl, Haley, and I just got to go hang out with her. We haven't seen each other in 10 years. And she's white, her mama white, her daddy white, but they're like more hippies or whatever. First people I ever knew that was a part of a nudist colony. Her brother was a football player, had all Black friends. All his homeboys was Black, but it was never in that way. Like I was explaining it to her. I was like, when I think of white people that I grew up around that were anti-racist, I think of her family. And it was, I would be at her house and I never felt that like, this is my daughter's Black friend. It was just a thing, right? So it makes me think about, it makes me think about the need for more spaces. The space might not exist. You know what I'm saying? That's like, yes, somebody put some in there. And also, it's nothing wrong with creating more spaces. We need more people that understand their position to power, their proximity to power, and how they can utilize that to help liberate us. I will keep this, again, I'll say this like this. Another personal example is, every space I walk in, I'm not assumed to be a cis male, right? And when I am assumed to be a cis male, sometimes I'm assumed to be gay, but whatever. When I am in a space where I have the opportunity to be heard as a man, no matter what, I use that opportunity to be anti-right misogynist. I use that as an opportunity to be anti, you know, hypermasculine. I take that opportunity, of course, be safe, but I take that opportunity to, you know, use my proximity to power as a person that could walk through this world and in a way that I didn't used to go from point A to B without being harassed by men. It's such a simple thing that you have to interrogate what your proximity is. So I hope that helped.
Thank you, Eli. I just want to circle back to our facilitated discussion intentions. So please be mindful that we're not trying to center white spaces too. And then also keeping in mind that please do not ask BIPOC people to find white spaces. But then I do think the questions and discussion is great. I do want to end the discussion portion with a question, which is, in your wildest dreams, how do you see us creating an abolitionist world together? And how may this vision overlap with CCSF?
That is such a great question. Okay. No. I was. Didn't want you to hear her clapping. Okay. Google this event called Honcho Campout. That's just what I went to this weekend. Was blessed to go. For everybody who's queer, they had a queer fam fund. I wasn't a part of that, but it brought more marginalized people to this majority white event where it was camping and house music and fab. And I bring that up because while I was out there, I had great conversations, liberatory conversations with white queers, cis white queers. And one thing that kept coming up in the conversation were questions like that, like, how do you envision? How do you envision? And one thing I like to do is bring us to the present. This is how I envision it. Exactly what y'all are doing now. That's how it overlaps. Prioritizing marginalized voices, creating space to push the envelope. In the words of Miriam Cabo, we got like 300, 400 years to go. And unless one of y'all miraculously in school come up with something so that we're gonna live that long, we're not gonna be here to see it. So I like to talk, like in the present of how we have control over what's happening right now. I see it happening through continuing to create spaces like this, continuing to push back. I'll close with this so I can stop talking. In San Francisco, they just did what? Transgender History Month, right? I don't care about that. You know why? Because I'm Black and I already got Black History Month. And guess what? During Black History Month, it's Trans History Month. And guess what? There's been no material change for people by being legitimized by the US empire. So while people are taking pictures with them and thanking them for some whatever proclamation, who cares, right? It's about talking about that, right? That's abolitionist. It's about interrogating what people are celebrating when we're celebrating Kamala Harris's and when we're celebrating Barack Obama's. It's the present work that y'all are doing. And I say that to affirm so y'all can feel affirmed and validated so y'all can continue. This is me pouring gas on the fire. Light it up, you know? And at the same time, get the soil ready to grow. You know, get the soil ready to grow, because it ain't all about burning down. It's also about starting community gardens. It's about self-defense that starts with food. It's about getting connected to Native people and find out what they're doing. I have a homegirl now in Albuquerque, a Navajo woman, and we're gonna be best friends. And this, honestly, I told her, I was like, I'm gonna say it. I don't care what you say, girl. I'm gonna say it. You're my first. I've never had that relationship before. And I'm very excited to have that, because I'm like, I learned so much. You know, we bounced off each other, and I'll take it here. It's about creating mutual beneficial relationships. I learned that from our kin in Cuba. Create mutual beneficial relationships with people, close the ranks, believe in solidarity, because Black and brown solidarity is a thing no matter what people say, and just be there for one another. Again, being in relationship with another, like Tatiana said, that's it. Just continue, get your relationship skills together. Learn how to talk with people, learn how to be in relationship with people, and that's how we're gonna get free.
Wow, that's so beautifully said. Thank you, Eli. I'm just rapid fire heart emojis with everything that you're saying. I also just want to open it up to people as we end the session to close with, what are you taking from this?
We can't hear you, Era.
Sorry, was everything not heard?
Just the last couple words you said.
Just the last couple of words? Okay. So then I just want people to end this space by sharing what you're taking away from it. And that could be through the chat, for everyone too, please. And just one more reminder that Kari, again, is part of our care team. And then she'll also be including a survey if anybody needs any care, or a feedback form. And thank you so much, Eli, for being a part of this. Okay, I see that Sean and then Tatiana, you're both up there.
I just wanted to say thank you again for being here, because I was very happy to see that, to see Black trans people being happy and not have any violent shit happen to them, you know, because there's always a bunch of movies where, like you said, very bluntly and very honestly, a lot of movies regarding Black trans people specifically are about, it's trauma porn to people. You know what I mean? And that's also on the whole of Black people as well. But I'm speaking of Black trans people specifically, and like, you know, Black queer people. And I think that it was really, really awesome to see that. And I'm glad that that person dropped by to sit there and like, you know, like show their face. That was dope. Thank you so much. And thank you for all your knowledge.
Thank you, Sean. And then Tatiana.
Yeah, I really just want to thank you so much, Eli, for showing that film. I had to kind of check in with myself throughout it because I noticed my own anxiety rising throughout it. And it was just so incredibly beautiful to just watch some homegirls get together to celebrate one of their birthdays. And it was beautiful. And it was incredible. And I love that that was given to us as an example of transformative justice. And the other thing too is I just thank you so much for bringing relationships into the conversation, and how, you know, I think a lot of, I'm just going to say it, I'm going to go there. Like, I feel like a lot of white dominant new agey sentiments have this whole idea of emphasizing the individual. And, you know, you can't love yourself, and like, you can't love somebody until you love yourself. But I don't actually believe that at all. And it's just so important for us to like understand that we're here, you know, there's 7 billion people on this planet. And how are you going to love yourself if you don't have love, if you don't know what that is, if you don't know what that looks like? So thank you so much for bringing that into the space.
Thank you, Tatiana. Eli, I was wondering if you want to respond to that?
Oh, I put it in chat, my bad, because I'm long-winded, so I was trying not to. But the person that wrote this book has another book on spirit and communities and like children. And one thing I also want to say, I'm sorry, this is like very important to me. Interrogate your intergenerational relationships. I have infants that are my friends, and I'm saying this dead ass serious. I'm friends with infants. Yes, she's my niece and she's my friend. I'm friends with toddlers. I'm friends with children, and I'm friends with older people. One thing about the world that we live in is that we're not very kind to children. We don't treat them as sentient beings, and then we're not very kind to old people. And then we wonder why here in the middle, from teens to 30s, 40s, whatever, we are losing our shit. It's because we weren't treated very well when we were little. And we know there's gonna come a time, if you live that long, that you're not gonna be treated well again. So another thing that I wanna add to this is, yes, abolish adult supremacy is really, 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 intergenerational care is so important. The babies have so much to teach us, and the elders have so much to teach us. Fight that natural urge to be resistant to both the old and the young. Because as we get older, we don't want to listen to kids. Y'all, you're just a kid. No, pay attention to them. Observe them. I saw a tweet the other day that said that babies are communists, and we teach them otherwise. You ask a 5-year-old if the person on the street should be on the street, they're gonna say no, they need a home, they need food. They're not gonna understand all these other concepts. You know, we teach that to them. So yeah, I wanted to add that. So important.
Thank you. So many beautiful conversations happening.
We can't hear you, Era. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this is a pattern now. So then I do want to be respectful of people's time. I know that we said that we'll end at 7:30. I just, again, want to highlight the incredible work that Kari is doing with the care team. And I'm repeating their message that they put into the chat. If you all want to give feedback, please do. And thank you all so much for being a part of this space. We're looking forward to the additional, 21 sessions that we'll have and discovering what it means to build abolition. All right, folks, I hope you all have a great night, and please do take care.
Thank you all. I'm about to bounce.
Bye, Eli.